Okay, welcome to another TreelineFX video. Today we're going to look at our CounterFlow trend indicator, and this is an interesting way of exploiting our underlying currency indexes. So let's just do a quick recap. This is the snapshot tool we looked at earlier, and what we're doing is we're calculating underlying currency indexes for the 7 major currencies: US dollar, euro, British pound, JPY, Canadian, Aussie, and the Kiwi. And we do this every minute. And we do this with an interesting decomposition algorithm, which breaks the market down into these separate indexes. So let's have a look at our trend indicator. And this is a sort of a first simpler way of trying to exploit these indexes. So what we have here is the GBP USD, and we're looking at a 2-week chart. And we're going to start with our 72-hour trend indicator. You can see here it moves between the range -1 and +1, with the orange areas indicating short movement and the blue areas indicating long movement. But what we do is actually calculate first the trend indicator on the underlying currency indexes. So we start with the GBP, and here we see a pretty clear short movement marked by the orange, and then a bump and continuing short. And for the USD index, we see a pretty clear short movement and then returning up here on the long side. But then what we do next is come to the pair, the GBP USD, and we do the same calculation, but we then modulate and suppress areas of the trend response where the two underlying currency indexes are not cooperating in the trend. So let's have a look. This side here on the short movement, we get a pretty strong response here on the short side. And we can see why. The two underlying currency indexes are cooperating. On the GBP side, it's pushing short. And on the USD side, it's pushing long, because it's the second part of the currency pair that operates in the opposite direction as the pair. But over here, on this side, we have a pretty clear long trend, but the trend indicator for the pair is quite weak. And so let's have a look at why. The underlying currency index GBP is actually moving short in this area, and so it's not really contributing to the long trend that we see in the pair. The USD index is pushing heavily short, and that will influence the pair in the long direction. It's just stronger than the influence of the GBP currency index. So while we see the long trend in the pair, it may not be a convincing trend, and that's what this indicator is trying to weed out. Over here, on the other hand, the two underlying currency pairs are acting in cooperation with each other, so we get a stronger signal. We have a tool here to make this a little bit easier, to reduce the mental gymnastics needed when looking at the charts. So we can invert the second currency, and we'll just use the grid view to make a quicker comparison. And what we see now for the two underlying currencies is that we can compare directly the two charts. Because we're inverting the second one, we're now looking for movements in the same direction. So for here, the GBP is pushing in the short direction, and the inverted USD index is also pushing in the short direction. And this makes for an easier comparison, and as we saw, we get a strong response on the currency pair chart. So we have this indicator for 24 hours, 48 hours, 96 hours, and 120. And you can choose which one you're interested in. And this is all available on our API. So that's the first tool that makes use of our currency indexes. In the next video, we'll look at something a little more complex with the forecasting tool. And this makes a bit more mathematically rigorous use of the reversible properties of our currency index calculations. So we'll look at that next. We'll see you then.